My name is Elizabeth Litwin. I'm a Hinsdale Central student, and I read The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. It's a fantasy book. It's about 250 pages, and it's a collection of 6 short stories loosely based on familiar fairy tales that we all knew when we grew up. It's set in her universe of her previous books, which are Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows. But it's very open to people who are not familiar with her previous work. I am a big fan of her previous work and I love her writing style, but I think this is a great way for people to be introduced to the author and the type of things that she writes. So like I said, there are 6 short stories which are loosely based on traditional fairy tales, but they all take a very interesting, different twist, maybe showing a new character or a different plot line or origin story that we hadn't considered before. And there's stories like The Nutcracker, the original Little Mermaid, and some other tales you might not be so familiar with, but eventually you'll discover which story it's really based on. I found this book completely captivating. It's just interesting to read 6 different stories that have no connection to each other, and so it really keeps it moving, even though it's a short read overall. And also each story is illustrated beautifully with illustrations that grow as the story develops and kind of shows what's going on in a visual way, and then culminates in a beautiful full-page spread at the end of the story to kind of show where it ended up. So it really does give it kind of that fairy tale, magical vibe that I think is really interesting. Even though I'm not one for retold fairy tales or fairy tales in general, I found this book really interesting because it really gave it a fresh, modern twist on like what a fairy tale means. And I just think it's a good read for anyone, even if you like fantasy like I do, or you've read her previous work or not. I think it's a great way for anyone to be introduced to the author, as well as like the idea of fantasy and fairy tales, because it like really captivates you and just keeps you engaged and interested and really moves at a nice pace. So I think it's a great read and I would definitely recommend it.